which are actually called tankers when they get this big. These small ones that we operate and the ones the sheriffs operate drop about 375 gallons of water. These drop about 3,500 gallons of water. Very expensive to operate. The county and SDG&E have promised essentially 4 hours free to any agency that needs to use these. The going price for the one that SDG&E is typically operating is $7,500 an hour. The second one they just brought in, which is operated by Harrison, the owner of this aircraft, $15,000 an hour for those helicopters. But they're a tremendous asset. They don't put the fire out, but they slow it down enough, and they can do strategic drops in time for the crews and the boots on the ground to get in there. Those are the people who really put the fire out. It's the boots on the ground. These guys get a lot of the press because it's a sexy job to have. I always thought I had the best job as fire chief, so I really started talking to the pilots. And I think maybe they might have a better job. So they do a great job. CAL FIRE operates two fixed-wing air tankers in the county. We'll talk a little bit about the threats that are still outstanding, some of the challenges, and we'll talk about that. But better coordination with the military again. We can bring in military helicopter pilots who fight fires like this all the time on San Clemente Island, started by activities out there, training activities. Next, please. Here's where I think we made the biggest mistake, and I'll own up to it. I was running the show here in the city of San Diego during this fire. We were so concentrated, as we always had been, on protecting homes on the edge of the canyon. Fires moving up the canyon, and we're protecting homes, and we're moving with the head of the fire. Well, behind us, in these neighborhoods, up to a mile away, where we told everybody to get out, evacuate, so nobody's really looking at these places, embers are hitting these homes. And so many burned in the inner part of the Rancho Bernardo. When I finally got out of the command post about 48 hours into the incident, I got a chance to come up here and drive, and actually drive all the way out to Ramona, and I was just saddened by how many homes inside these communities had been damaged. We also had homes that we did a great job of protecting, and maybe they caught fire a little bit. We put the fire out, then had to move on as the fire progressed through the neighborhood, only to have the home rekindle and then burn to the ground, and maybe burn another home next to it. So we decided, you can't throw all your resources to the fire front. You need to dedicate some resources to this. So we developed some policies for a fire assistant. I forgot what FAST stands for. We get going back and forth. We have a cadre of folks and policies to back it up. They will do two things. They'll staff these kinds of vehicles. This is called an air quick system. It's basically a large, almost like an air compressor tank full of water, 80 or 120 gallons, propelled by air. Big air bottle that we wear on our back, and also propel these. They have extinguishment capability. Through donations and our own funds, we bought these FAST kits. Fire attack support teams with FAST kits. These have kits where a firefighter in a car could go out, or a team of two. They come in teams of two. Two firefighters in a car or a pickup truck with this kit could go out into a neighborhood, and either using your own hose supply or using the nearest fire hydrant could fight fire, just those two guys, without benefit of a fire engine. So we've done a little bit here to start. We're going to have a cadre of folks next time whose job it is to patrol the neighborhoods and take care of those ember-related fires. If it outstrips their ability, we'll have a cadre of folks that can pull off the fire line and fight the fire.
How much do one of those kits cost?
These are $2,000 some odd for these FAST kits. I want to say, it says 12, but I think we actually have 13 now. We're up to, by the time this is all done, we're at 6 right now for these air quick systems. We'll be at 10 by the time we get the other 4 out.
Have they placed at different firehouses around the county?
Some of the donations came from Tierra Santa, so they have 2 kits stashed at their local fire station. The bulk of them are stored at our repair facility in Kearneyville Road. So if this is something, if you guys are interested in buying one of these, and Captain Badler's here, you want to store it at Fire Station 33, they have room for it, they'd be glad to host it, and then we'd have a place to get to it. That's really up to you guys. Okay, next slide, please. We had a real challenge getting information out, whether it was me talking to state level representatives from the command post or you trying to get information about when can I come back home. We need to do a better job of doing that. So we didn't have enough public information staff dedicated to the fire department. So we've now taken uniformed firefighters, some of which won't have a seat on the fire engine to help out. And we've trained them how to be public information officers. So we're going to get them out. We're also using Twitter. So for those of you that are tech savvy, I'm not a Twitter guy, but we have plenty of staff that's familiar with that. You can go to our website, and there's a place where you can get into our Twitter account and follow us on Twitter if you like. We've got greater coordination with the 211 center who handles a great volume of calls during the fire. We basically feed a lot of information to them, direct you to call them, and then their call takers take that load out of our dispatch center on our own staff. And lastly, we're just in the process now, we had a brief on it the other day, creating a public link into our dispatch center of records. So we have to clean it up because of medical privacy issues and other things. But you will be able to go to our website, click on a link, and you'll be able to see every call in the city of San Diego by cross streets. So 2 different cross streets, we have a medical call, you'll see resources assigned there. We're a little concerned about what happens when the bad guys get this information, so we have an ability to quickly toggle that off, because we've had situations where that kind of information has been exploited by people who aren't really working in our favor. Next, please. We also found that we can't do it alone. When I stumbled out of the command post after 48 hours and got some fresh air, the first people I hit were CERT volunteers who were providing security to the Fire Communications Center of the command post. As I walked across the street to go get something to eat, I kept seeing these gators, these small utility vehicles zipping up and down the road with people wearing green vests. Firefighters piled on. They didn't want the firefighters to have to walk, coming off the fire lines tired, from the bus to where they were going to dine and bed down for a while or carry all their gear. Everywhere I looked, there was a CERT person doing something that now we didn't have to have a firefighter doing. The teams are valued. You guys do an amazing job. We try to keep it exciting for you. It's a bit of a challenge in between emergencies, but they really showed their mettle during this and convinced a lot of us that weren't quite sure whether this was a worthy concept, and in fact it was. CERT is a fantastic work. Next, please. While we've made some progress, and there was no doubt we're going to make mistakes next time around, there are some significant challenges for us. We keep building in the wildland-urban interface, and it is increasingly difficult to protect a home sitting out in the middle of nowhere and dedicate resources to that. It's costing a lot of money on the federal level. They're looking at legislation. You heard one of the representatives tonight talk about a fee being charged for people living in these environments. Should they pay an additional fee for that? That's a debatable policy issue. We have a challenge getting people to take the kinds of steps they should do to make their homes less susceptible to being ignited. I think really the political bodies need to look at that, and can we incentivize that somehow? Are there tax breaks that we could grant or something for doing that? That's something that's going to do this. This is the biggest one challenging this. You heard some discussions about CAL FIRE losing a lot of property. The first thing that happened, a lot of money, the first thing that happened to them was they lost their ability to put a 4th person on their engine companies this year. They have a helicopter fleet that's antiquated. They don't even have a helicopter station here in San Diego County. They can't replace those. The Forest Service air tanker fleet is so aged that they grounded a lot of it after the wings snapped off, killing the pilots and everybody aboard. Going into a dive, wings popped off this thing and hit it.
The rest of the West. I worked on this in 1957.
Very old airframes that you're using, but there's not a lot of money, so they have fewer and fewer tankers now. So even the local assets we have that are federal are now it's a nationally deployable resource. It can go anywhere in the country to fight fire. A lot of agencies are no longer available to provide mutual aid. When they had a big fire in LA that killed a couple of firefighters, we call it Station Fire up in the hills above Los Angeles. When Cal Emergency Management Agency looked at that, they realized that they were able to draw 20% fewer resources than normal. The reason is a lot of agencies, particularly smaller ones, can't wait 210 days to be reimbursed by the state of California when they dispatch a lot of their firefighters out for 14 days on overtime. These guys go to work for 14 days straight, the agency pays them, and it was taking up to 7 months for the state of California to reimburse the local agency. The city of San Diego has a large enough cash flow that we can absorb that for a short period of time. Smaller agencies can't really do that, so we're having a lot of trouble. Now, in the city of San Diego, we're quite fortunate. For 17 months ending July 1st, this last July 1st, we were browned out 13% of our resources. Of those 60 engines, 47 engines, 12 trucks and a rescue, we were browning out up to 8 a day, meaning we were destaffing them essentially. They were not available. I'm glad that ended July 1st. Some unfortunate incidents as a result from that policy choice. I don't see the brownouts coming back anytime soon. I don't see us losing our helicopters anytime soon. We're working through it. Next, please. So, what do? We're going to do the best job we possibly can for you, but I guarantee you we will make mistakes again. We're getting better with each iteration. It's sad that there's a future iteration there for us, but we're going to make mistakes. What can you do? We've gone from what was the thing we used to say? Leave early or stay and defend. Kind of got away from that based on what happened in Australia, where a lot of people stayed behind to defend, and a lot of people perished in that fire. the International Community Fire